To this day, I still don't know why more game studios haven't tried to recreate the magic of the Mass Effect series. It's basically the only big AAA sci-fi RPG we have had on this level even over a decade later, and only now with Starfield are we seeing anything even remotely similar in terms of depth, storytelling, and world. What really made Mass Effect such a special series though was the story it told and the characters it introduced to us, all wrapped into one of the greatest sci-fi universes ever crafted, even outside of games. Because in each of the Mass Effect games, you get a special roster of different companions that you will get to take on each mission, all of which have their own backstories and quests to uncover, which reveal more about the characters and their desires. For many people, these companions are what they remember most about the series and what made it so great. Characters like Liara, Mordin, Garrus, and Rex. But for me, everything Mass Effect is about is the world and the story it told. It's the reason my favorite in the trilogy is the first, and my least favorite is the second, the opposite of most people. And it's because the moments I remember in this series aren't the slower talks with characters. Newer games like Cyberpunk did that better. It's those scenes like when you first take the Normandy to the Citadel, when you first discover the Rachni on Noveria, an icy planet dedicated to top secret research, or unearthing the Thorian on Pharos, an ancient organic plant that has knowledge of an ancient race of aliens who went extinct at the hand of a machine intelligence constructed over 1 billion years ago by unknown creators. Stories and ideas like this that really capture that childlike imagination in all of us. I can't express how overwhelmed I was as a kid when I first walked through the Citadel in each game. It felt like I was being transported to a new galaxy and really living in it. Each and every planet you can travel to, whether it was on your rover in the first game in Andromeda or by scanning planets in the second and third installments, gave you a sense that you were part of something so much bigger. And that's one of the most important things a game can do, being memorable. Crafting worlds and universes that actually feel like they exist, where it feels like even if you are the center of the most important story, there's still an entire set of peoples and places out there with their own problems. Mass Effect accomplished this with things like the Codex, which you could just sit down and listen to for hours about lore and history in the game. I know I certainly did, and it's still to this day the best Codex we've ever seen in a game. And on top of all this, there's so much political and personal intrigue in the series that you can really get immersed into. You can spend countless hours just talking with characters about big events in the game like the Genophage, which resulted in an entire race known as the Krogan slowly dying due to not being able to breed. And then in later installments in the series, you actually get to decide the fate of these races and what will happen in the future. It's a world where you get to not only leave your effect on it, but it also leaves such a lasting effect on you. And more than anything, there really just isn't anything else out there quite like the universe of Mass Effect. It's sci-fi, but with a fantastical twist that we often don't see in the genre. Your character can be what is known as a biotic, who have control over Mass Effect fields that can manipulate the environment, essentially making you a Jedi Master. And you also can unlock different guns, ammo types, and armors, all staples of any good RPG. But once again, the heart of this series and what makes the world so special is how fantastic it really all is. To this day, the story told in the original trilogy, and even at least the ideas presented in Andromeda, are just amazing. Stories of ancient alien races that purge the galaxy of all life in a goal they see as noble, and countless Lovecraftian side stories of powers being unleashed into a galaxy still only in its infancy. It's the exact kind of stories I personally love, and they are also the stories I point to when I explain to people why I like sci-fi worlds so much more than fantasy in most cases, because they make us think. When you play through Mass Effect, every story or moment that unfolds makes you think about the what if, about the questions that define the core of our humanity, and make us ponder the greatest question of all: what's out there? And just like many of the best Bethesda games, the music in this series builds on the intrigue and solidifies the world as one of the best ever crafted in games, with handfuls of new and perplexing alien races, all with storied paths, with characters that are believable and interesting, and most of all, a universe that begs to be explored and understood. You know, for most games I have played, the main driver for me was the story, the characters, or the role-playing I got to do in between each mission. But in Mass Effect's case, it was digging deeper and deeper into a universe that had utterly captured my soul. A series that once you play, you won't ever forget about, and one that shows us just how great and how captivating our imaginations can be.